Hi, and welcome to the Holly Tse Podcast, a show about expressing your brilliance with ease and flow. I'll show you how to take the woo-woo out of the clouds and apply it to real life for effortless action. This show is for world changers and future world changers, so if you know there's more to life and you're wondering what's next, this is your show. Hi, I'm Holly, your host. I am a dragon spirit guide, a published author, a teacher and speaker of health and wellness and awakening, and I'm also a fan of early 80s new wave music. Yeah, go spin a ballet. Woo! I'm here to help you find your voice and express your brilliance in the world. Now, for many people, this path involves creating a business that is in alignment with your soul purpose. So within this podcast, I'm going to have occasional episodes where I talk about how to help you do this. So first off, I want to mention that I have no interest in being a business coach, but if there's one thing that actually makes me angry, and there's not a lot of things that make me angry, it is the way that there are so many people online teaching people about how to make money online. And let's just say their intentions are not really in alignment with their souls. They may talk the talk and they may talk about walking the walk. But when you have that feeling inside that something's not right, you should trust that gut instinct, even if your mind overrides it, because a lot of people will prey, as in P-R-E-Y, on other people's emotions and desires and dreams in order to make money off them. So I've seen many people, they'll pay a lot of money, hundreds or thousands of dollars, and then they'll go to somebody's program or somebody's workshop or a seminar. They'll get a cookie cutter template or system to follow, and then they will try to implement it, but it's not feeling true to themselves, and they know it and they feel it, but they think, okay, this person's the expert, I have to trust them. And oftentimes these so-called quote-unquote experts have their own ego issues, where if somebody is not having success, let's just say success in quotes, with their system, they put the blame on the other person, saying, you're not dedicated enough, you're not following this right. And so the person who wants to follow their passion and make a difference in the world ends up being disempowered. And that's what makes me angry, is to see a lot of people who are making money online making false promises about profits and about how long it takes to create this business and about how much fun they're having working in their pajamas and going on these exotic vacations with their laptops. And a lot of this is not true. So I've seen people and I've seen friends do this where they are spending this money, they are going to these programs and workshops, they get this confidence boost, and then they still don't have what they need in order to grow their business, and they spin in circles and then rinse and repeat. They go find another so-called expert, they pay them a lot of money, and then they do it again and again and again. And they're in this loop that's been going on for years, where if they had just trusted in themselves with that little small whisper, that tiny seed, that intuition that's giving them the nudge to move forward, if they had listened to that instead of the experts, they would have been so much further ahead. It's not as glamorous. I mean, it certainly isn't as great as, hey, I'm sitting in my pajamas drinking frou-frou fruit drinks, but it makes it happen. It gets stuff done. And I'm a perfect example of that. I've got to admit, I drank the Kool-Aid in the past. I have purchased people's programs. I have listened to people's teleseminars and webinars and online programs. And I did get something really valuable from it. I actually met a lot of really good friends. But in terms of growing a business that I love, that suits my lifestyle, I'd have to say maybe 5% of what I learned was valuable and the other 95% was not. And what was most valuable was actually listening to my own heart and soul. So that's what this show is about, to put you in touch with your inner voice, so that you can grow your business and make a difference in people's lives and make a difference in the world and be in alignment with your soul purpose. So whenever I have an episode about entrepreneurship, I'm going to tag it with hashtag HollyBiz. So this episode, it isn't about chasing numbers, trying to hit 6 figures or 7 figures, because that's what a lot of people online promise. And of course it's appealing. You want to be able to provide for your family. You want to feel that you have freedom. And when you realize that all of this is within you and not outside of yourself, that's when you can truly manifest your brilliance and make money doing it, and not do it in a way that is unethical, one that is not in alignment with who you are. Because when someone is trying to tell you that something that feels smarmy isn't smarmy, they're telling you to override your own inner guidance. And I've had the opportunity to meet a lot of people who are quote unquote successful in this field, people making 6 or 7 figures, and not meet them like, hey, I'm going to put you up on a pedestal and I'm such a fan, but just meet them in, like, let's just say quote unquote real life, just as real people. And I have to tell you, most of them are not living that life that they're promising. Many of them are quite unhappy inside because they're not following their passion. And the irony is that they're teaching people to follow their passion, yet they're not doing it themselves. Instead, they're focused on making money. So this podcast is different. Why? Number one, I'm not charging you $1,000 for this information. Anything you hear on the Holly Tse Show, this is free information and it's not going anywhere. You can listen to it whenever you want, however many times you want, because I'm just going to put it all out there on iTunes. So it's like an episode or a show within the show. So just look for the hashtag HollyBiz, hashtag HollyBiz, and I'll tag all of the episodes about entrepreneurship and growing a soul-aligned business with that hashtag. So hashtag HollyBiz. This podcast is different because I'm not teaching you about how to make money online. Have you ever noticed that most of the gurus who are making money online are teaching people on how to make money online? But I'll be quite frank here, nobody's sole purpose is to teach people how to make money online. And when there's a lot of language around it to try and say that, yes, this is my sole purpose, and convince people this is your sole purpose, then you know it's not your sole purpose. And you know it's not their sole purpose either. So my intention is to help you. And why? Because, as I said, I get angry when I see people being deceived. That's the best way I can put it. When people are being told false information and they're paying a lot of money for assistance and it's not helping them. In fact, it's actually disempowering them. So that does make me angry. And that's why I'm putting this out as a podcast for free, because all of those people who are feeling discouraged or who are out of a lot of money and don't know which way to turn, guess what? Chances are you are already on the right path. And it was the quote-unquote guru who gave you information that actually kind of led you off path. So I want to get you back on the path, because when you're following your soul purpose and you're expressing your brilliance and making a difference in the world, we are creating a better world, and that matters to me. So one tip I have for you, anybody who says they are of service to you, go run for the hills, because anyone who is of service to others does not go around announcing how they are of service to others. They don't need to tell people how they are in service. They know they are, and they do not need their ego stroked. They do not need other people saying, oh, good for you, you're doing all these great things. The other way this podcast is different is because I am honoring who you are. I encourage you to honor yourself, to trust your gut instincts, because that is how you're going to grow your soul-aligned business. It isn't about following a cookie-cutter system or some particular step-by-step process. It's about honoring your brilliance. And of course, because I am very left brain too, in addition to right brain, I want to give you stuff that is to the point and practical. So we're going to start at the very beginning. And if this is too elementary for you, then I invite you to listen to future #HollyBiz episodes of the Holly Tse Show for more advanced information. So this is for those of you who are very new to the process, because I find these are the people who are preyed upon, Preyed, by a lot of the internet marketing gurus, because when you're new to this, you don't know what you don't know. So it's very simple for somebody to come along and say, hey, I'm riding on this magical steed and I bring you all the answers you seek. No one has all the answers because it has yet to unfold. And the person who knows best what's right for you is you. You just have to get out of your head and listen to your soul. So the very beginning, the question most people have is, what's my business going to be about? Who is my audience going to be? And there are people who will tell you to spend hours or they'll have an entire course on how to craft your elevator pitch. When you meet someone at a networking event, you tell them, hi, I'm so-and-so, I do this and this and this. And there's like a formula. It's like, I help blank people with blank in some sort of unique, beneficial, expressed way to blank. And people come up with these crazy things. And I've had people introduce themselves to me with, I am I help women in their 30s with food cravings to overcome the deprivation caused by a lack of self-love, to love themselves more so that they can be thin and fit into their skinny jeans. And, well, quite frankly, nobody talks like that. The only time you'll encounter people who talk like that are when you're going to a networking event full of other people who have been drinking from the Kool-Aid. And I gotta admit, I've tried it myself. And then I would notice, outside of those events, telling people something like that, I couldn't keep a straight face. It was ridiculous. It was so pretentious and pompous. And if you felt that way too, when you put a lot of time crafting your mission statement or your elevator pitch, don't feel bad about it. It's part of your journey. It's part of your self-expression. You tried it. If it works for you, then great. But if it doesn't work for you, then you can set it aside. And I have another tip for you. So the reason why the quote-unquote experts tell people to spend so much time crafting this elevator pitch is because they think that through introducing yourself this way that you will magically spark curiosity in the other person, and then they will become your client because you've described what you do so well that if they can relate to that, then they'll ask you more about it. Or if they have a friend or family member they can refer to you, then this will spark that referral in their mind. But in real life, here's a better way to do that. Rather than come up with something quite convoluted that feels awkward to say, why not just find a short form way of describing what you do? And even if it's not a perfect description, just call yourself whatever. So let's say you coach people. You could say, I'm a life coach, even if your way of doing it is very specific. And then instead of thinking, okay, that's too vague, it's not specific enough, here's something to consider. Why not actually have a conversation with a person and ask them questions? If they are your perfect client, in the conversation, it will naturally arise for you to share something with them that could be valuable and helpful for them. And when that exchange happens, then they're much more likely to ask you for your card or ask for your contact information or consider referring someone to you. Okay, let's move on now to figuring out what your soul-aligned business is going to be all about if you're a new entrepreneur or you're making the shift to become an entrepreneur. So I'm going to be to the point here because determining your business is very simple. Let's start with the audience. Now, everybody always says, okay, start with the audience. Who's your person? Give them a name. What keeps them up at night, blah, blah, blah. I'll make it super easy for you. You don't have to fill out a whole bunch of questionnaires and worksheets. Your audience is someone exactly like you. What? Yeah. They may not be identical, but there's probably a lot of elements. The gender is probably similar, the age range is probably similar, the struggles they face, that your audience faces, is something that you've been through. And characteristics about them are characteristics of you, that you hold inside you, because how else could you connect with them? How else could you understand them? So I am not going to be teaching enlightenment to 70-year-old men from a privileged background, because I don't have the same experiences as them. I don't speak the same language. Yes, we speak the same language in terms of, say, English, but the nomenclature, the words, the phrases, they're different because of our different experiences. Now, I may have people in my audience who fit into that category, but the way that we connect is there's some other element about me and them that we have in common. So the easiest way, though, that your most natural audience is somebody who has a lot in common with you because you have these shared experiences. Okay, now what is the thing that you do? Well, what have you overcome, or what are you working on overcoming? You might not have it all solved, and I'll let you in on a secret. You'll never get the whole thing solved. That's not the point. The point is the journey. So perhaps you had a very traumatic childhood where perhaps you were molested or sexually assaulted and you learned how to overcome that. Or maybe you're a mom who had a child with a particular health challenge and you helped them overcome it. Or maybe you had rocky relationships in the past and you found your soulmate. Whatever it is, you have been through that journey, and as you help others through this journey, it helps move you along. So the only reason when the journey ends is if it's something that's not in alignment with your soul. So for me, my journey is about expressing my brilliance and sharing my voice with the world, because in the past, I did not do that. So I've had to overcome shyness and feeling unworthy and afraid of speaking up in order to learn how to speak up. And in doing so, I've learned to listen to my inner voice, because it wasn't just other people shutting my voice down. It was me shutting my own inner voice down. And I've been through a lot of trials and tribulations to help me overcome that. And that's my sole purpose. And I help people through this podcast and also through, I have another blog, ChineseFootReflexology.com, which is about health and wellness. So you might think, well, how does that help people express their brilliance? Well, it's because any sort of trauma or disease or discomfort in the body is a message from the soul. And when you ignore that, that's when it manifests in the body. And when people listen to that, so they stop repressing that voice within and they make changes in their life, that is when their health and vitality thrives. So even though I teach people about Chinese foot reflexology, I'm actually teaching them about how to unleash the brilliance within. Isn't that pretty brilliant? So your business is about something that you are working on in yourself. And when I say working on, it's not supposed to be a chore. It is about what you uncover, peeling back the layers of the onion. And it is the journey, the joy of the journey that matters more. And I'll talk more in a future Holly Biz episode about intentions, because that's important too. But for now, let's just say it matters in that you're of service to your audience, but you're also of service to yourself. So as I mentioned before, as you help others heal, you heal yourself. As you help others grow, you yourself grow. And being of service to yourself should actually be the number one priority. So it's kind of like when you're on the airplane and they tell you when the oxygen masks drop down that you should put your own mask on first. That's what I'm talking about. because being of service to yourself and being of service to other people is not a mutually exclusive thing. You can be of service to yourself first and still be of service to other people. It's not a binary thing, a win-lose. You can create this amazing life for yourself, an amazing lifestyle. No, it's not going to mean necessarily that you're sitting on the beaches of Tahiti with your laptop, drinking a daiquiri and making 7 figures. But is that really your dream? When you get in touch with your own true dream and you make that happen, then you're of service to yourself and you can be of service to others doing that. When you're following your true dream, not the one that your head tells you is your true dream, or that your ego tells you is your true dream, or that some quote-unquote internet guru tells you is your true dream, when you're following your heart and soul, then the doors open for you and it feels effortless. It doesn't mean that everything magically falls into your lap, but it is certainly much more effortless, and there's definitely much more ease and flow. And maybe you could be sitting in Tahiti with your laptop, drinking a daiquiri and making 7 figures. But start with what's true for you first. So just to recap, this episode was about how to create your soul-aligned business. And we started with the early steps for new entrepreneurs, which is, who's your audience? Answer, someone like you. And what is it that you help them with? Something that you've helped yourself with. And anything outside of that, unless you're selling, say, soda or pop, as they say in the Northeast and in Canada, then anybody outside of that's not your core audience. Focus on the people that you can relate to with the situations and circumstances that you can relate to them with. And in future episodes of this show within a show, #HollyBiz, I'll talk more about marketing, I'll talk about sales, I'll talk about website stuff, I'll talk about all the stuff that online business coaches charge thousands of dollars for, and I'll just share all of that stuff on my podcast. So thank you for listening to the Holly Tse Show, helping you find your voice and express your brilliance with ease and flow, including creating your heart-aligned business with ease and flow. So for more information about this podcast, please visit my website at hollytse.com. So HOLLYTSE.com. So thank you so much for that. I'm Holly Tse, and you've been listening to the Holly Tse podcast, expressing your brilliance with ease and flow. So I'll be signing off for now. Bye.